Welcome to Gabby Dave Global. We are a UK-based online e-commerce store, the first of its kind with license to trade in African products. Some of the products are clothing brands and all beauty accessories, hair and beauty brands, natural aphrodisiacs, processed and dried unprocessed food. Our mission at Gabby Dave is to connect African and Caribbean businesses to customers globally. At Gabby Dave, we ensure our sellers get the best deal for their products. We are not just here to help you reach a wider audience. We are also a distribution center to support business growth by fulfilling orders to your customers from our warehouse, making sure customers receive their products on time. We are inviting all Black-owned businesses to trade on our platform because we strongly believe Africans have a unique brand the customer would appreciate globally. So get in touch today and let us make your product and business go far. Here are some of the benefits of using Gabby Dave Global. User-friendly platform, track your shipment, online support, transparent process, multiple SKUs, multiple products, a platform that encourages manufacturers as well as traders. Our marketing and PR interventions amplifies yours. Organized products and categories for easy access and navigation. Access to global community, especially within UK and Europe.
Pull Ukraine from within. You'd be left with a rump Ukraine. You could imagine there being political turmoil were that to happen. But it's also really important to think that this is unfolding right now on this independent, sovereign country, as we keep saying, in the face of all of the weight of Western power as it is, telling President Putin not to do this, warning him, and we've heard again today, that there will be unprecedented sanctions. Clearly, the Russian leader has listened to these warnings and decided that actually he will gain more by defying them, by defying the West, by pushing on and preventing, in his mind, well, it seems that his intention, preventing this country from making an independent choice to join NATO or the EU, Western-leaning, which is a huge challenge to our entire world order. And it really does remain to be seen whether the West is going to be able to respond to that effectively. It hasn't so far.
Because he doesn't seem to care about the sanctions, the threat of even harsher sanctions, does he?
No, and you can imagine other authoritarian leaders, the Chinese president, for one, in particular, watching on with this, watching on with what is happening here, this huge tussle between two different value systems, and seeing how the West, the unity, the power of the West. You heard voices at the weekend at the Munich Security Conference, all of those powers telling President Putin not to do it, warning that he would face this horrific consequence were he to, in terms of economic sanctions, the mobilization of more NATO forces to the eastern flank close to Russia. And yet, despite that, he clearly just thinks it's empty, weak, and he can still succeed.
Yep, let's go to Moscow now and speak to Diana Magnay. It's an interesting point, Diana, that Deborah's making there about Vladimir Putin's state of mind. He doesn't seem to care. Does he just believe that his country can withstand any sanctions that the West throws at him, or is it just the case that this means more to him?
I think it's a bit of both. I think he's pretty effectively sanction-proofed the economy since 2014. This will obviously have more impact, but whatever sanctions come down, promise to have a lot more impact. But I don't think he really cares if his own people are squeezed economically more as a result of this, because I think he's looking at his historical legacy. He believes that this will upend Western hegemony, and that's worth it as far as his calculations go. He must be imagining a future for himself and how this will go down historically. He's 69. He loves his history, his very distorted view of history. And I just wonder whether this is the moment he feels that he can knock the West off its pedestal, in the same way as he believes that it is the West who are controlling Kiev, who are controlling these decisions of Volodymyr Zelensky to push for and NATO membership, that is not an autonomous decision of the leadership in Kiev, but it is directed and orchestrated by the West. And this is, I suppose, not just an attack on Ukraine, but an attack, as Deborah was saying, on Western liberal democracy and value systems. We'll just have to see how far he goes and how successful he is in pursuing that. If it is limited to the borders of Donetsk and Luhansk regions, which is what he said yesterday that he recognized when he declared the separatist republics independent, that is one thing. If he wants to push further into Donbass and into eastern Ukraine, because there are a lot of Russian speakers in that whole part of the country, that is another. And he may well push even further to Kiev, even though he says he doesn't want to occupy the country. We don't yet know what it is in his mind, but we are fully in the fog of war, because what the Defense Ministry is now saying is that strikes in Ukrainian cities are fabrications. We've seen these kind of white helmet staged videos before in places like Syria. So we are in the midst of an information war also, even as bombs clearly seem to be landing in Ukraine from Russian territory.
Yeah, absolutely. Diana, thank you very much. Well, amid an international outcry at Moscow's actions, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said EU leaders would be asked to approve massive and targeted sanctions against Russia. Well, we're joined now by the chair of the Parliamentary Committee on Integration of Ukraine to the EU, Ivana Klimpush-Tsindzadze. She's a member of Ukraine's parliament and former Prime Minister of Ukraine. And thank you very much for being with us on what, first of all, is a truly awful day for your country.
It really is an awful day, and thank you very much for calling on me. I think it's very important to understand that, well, right now I'm in the center of Kyiv, and we are hearing blasts right nearby. We are hearing shellings nearby. So what, you know, your Moscow correspondent just was questioning whether Putin will go further than Donetsk and Luhansk regions. He is already attacking Kharkiv, Kyiv, Sumy, Kherson. So it's not exclusively on the eastern part of Ukraine, where he has recognized those republics or so-called republics as a pretext to actually occupy the whole country and then go further. It's not Ukraine, again, I will repeat and repeat this, Ukraine is not his end goal. We have to understand this is about world security, this is about Euro-Atlantic security and European security as such.
And do you think that your country, Ukraine, is able to defend itself at all from what is happening?
Ukraine is getting its grip together. Ukrainian parliament this morning has, we have been in the parliament, we have adopted the martial law for the whole country. So all the instruments are, the executive and the armed forces do have at hand at this particular moment. We know that in some places already several fightings are ongoing along the border, but not exclusively in the region of the east of Ukraine. We also know that some of the airplanes, Russian airplanes, have been already shut down. We also know that, unfortunately, some Russian tanks are moving already inside the Ukrainian territory. Some Russian, I don't know, either battalions or some groups of tanks are moving inside of Ukraine from the northern eastern part of the border, which was not the border or the touchline with the breakaway regions. From Belarus, and Belarus has also been used and joined this war of Russian Federation against Ukraine, allowing the forces of Russian Federation coming in from Belarus.
Right, and is it your view that President Putin wants to remove the government of Ukraine and put in a government supporting him?
President Putin wants to ensure that Ukraine as an independent country does not exist in any format, either by changing the government. I'm sure that all of us who have been pushing back on Russian attacks since 2014 are on his lists to be wiped out from the country's authorities. But that's something that has been anticipated, and we knew about that. But that doesn't mean that we are giving up. We are right now working with my colleagues on arranging the territorial defense of Kyiv city. So our colleagues who have the military background are taking, the responsibility, taking additional initiative and command. And I think we are going to resist. And I hope that our armed forces also will get additional military weaponry from our Western partners. And I am waiting to see when that package of sanctions will immediately, I think it has to be immediately already unrolled against Putin. I think everybody has to understand that it's either the free world that will prevail or Putin will take it over. And again, it will not end with our territory, with our people suffering and our people being killed in the streets of peaceful cities, at least those cities that have been peaceful till yesterday or till this morning, 5 a.m. in the morning.
I'm hearing from the Ukrainian military that they are saying that a second wave, they're calling it, of missile strikes is taking place now on Ukraine. That's according to the Ukrainian military. I just wonder, a lot of people in Ukraine are leaving. There are long queues in Kiev, people heading west. What are you going to do? Are you going to stay here?
For sure. For sure. I am not leaving the city. It's our land. It's our city. It's our capital city. It's not for Putin to decide how we are going to live. And I really hope that with our resolve, the world will also help us to withhold this attack.
But he might well decide what sort of government it is you're living under. Would the people of Ukraine, would the people of Kiev, would they accept any other government than one that they had elected themselves?
I do not think so. I think Putin underestimates Ukrainian society. He has underestimated us back in 2014 when we didn't have the armed forces to protect us. And he's again underestimating us, thinking that nobody will resist and that Ukrainians are ready to be puppeted or whatever that is called by the Russian Federation.
Ivana, what is your message to people like President Biden and Western leaders this morning?
Act now, immediately, and act in full scale and go beyond what you have already pre-agreed with other partners. More action will be needed. SWIFT has to be on the table immediately I think banking platforms for Russian Federation also have to be on the table at this particular moment. Get more weapons to us and be ready to defend us, because this way you will be defending yourselves. It's either the beginning of the World War III or we are pushing back on Putin together and then hoping that the world will thrive again.
Okay, Ivana Klimpush-Tsindzadze, thank you very much for joining us from Kiev this morning, and I appreciate your time, and try and stay safe. Now, we're hearing that Olaf Scholz is about to speak about what has been happening here since the early hours of this morning. Laura Bundock is in Brussels for us. And Laura, what do we expect Olaf Scholz to say? Of course, it was Olaf Scholz who brought in that immediate sanction very early on, a sanction on the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, but that has not deterred President Putin.
No, it hasn't, but I think it was a big measure, a big announcement, and one designed to send a big message to President Putin as well. We're expecting to hear from the German Chancellor shortly in terms of what's happening in the rest of Europe. France's equivalent of Cobra has been meeting earlier as well to discuss the situation. We've had EU ambassadors getting together this morning ahead of the urgent and emergency meeting of the European Council. That's due to take place at 7 o'clock tonight, where they will no doubt be looking at this latest package of sanctions. We know that the EU had a prepared package of sanctions with different components, some of which were imposed earlier this week. They're going to go further now. The president of the EU Commission saying that the sanctions would be massive, they would be targeted, designed to impose a heavy toll on the Kremlin and its ability to finance war, although it hasn't clearly stopped the Kremlin's ability to start war or to engage in that. But anyway, the sorts of measures we're talking about will be blocking Russia's access to vital technologies and markets, freezing Russian assets in Europe and blocking Russian banks from European financial markets. Make no mistake, these measures will not only have an impact on Russia, they will have a significant impact on member countries here as well, not least those that rely heavily on trade with Russia and those with borders with Russia as well. There's also a meeting here with NATO allies as well, discussing the situation, and they will no doubt be looking at whether or not to activate troops. Remember, NATO has troops based in Poland, in Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, the Estonian troops headed up by the British, but these are multinational troops based in those countries. They will now have to decide whether or not to deploy more troops from the NATO response force to bolster those strategic positions. They've got 40,000 potential troops in that response force, as I say, in strategic positions, but in terms of numbers, perhaps nothing against Russia. But that's one of the decisions will have to be made. Interestingly, countries already declaring states of emergency, Lithuania, Moldova, have declared this, and they are among countries also, well, certainly Lithuania, to invoke Article 4 of the NATO treaty, which basically sets out and gives its members opportunity to consult if they feel that their territory, the integrity of their territory, is being threatened. The Lithuanian Prime Minister saying very clearly earlier that this attack is an attack on the entire free world, but those countries neighbouring Russia, so the Baltic nations, countries like Poland, feeling under threat and wanting certainly the dialogue to be opened. These are all the diplomatic efforts. We have then, of course, the military efforts, countries having to decide how far they're going to go with sanctions, with military action, and then the humanitarian side of this as well. Already Poland making it very clear they are preparing themselves for what may happen next, and in terms of refugees as well, they're expecting, as are many of these countries, big influxes of refugees now.
Laura, thank you very much. Two distant explosions here in Kiev again, one earlier on the outskirts of the city, smoke rising. So this attack on Ukraine continues, and certainly we're getting reports of explosions in cities across Ukraine. Not at all clear at the moment what the scale of the attack on Ukraine will be, where ground forces are going to be going. It's not at all clear. What we do know is that a very serious military operation by the Russians is underway in Ukraine. The Ukrainian military are saying that about 40 people have been killed so far, and we have also got reports from them that the country is being hit now by what they call a second wave of missile strikes, a wave much earlier this morning, and now they're saying a second wave is underway. And from what we can hear here, that is quite possibly true. Now, what about America? The US President Joe Biden has said that the prayers of the entire world are with the people of Ukraine as they suffer unprovoked and unjustified attacks by Russia's military forces. Mr. Biden said President Putin had chosen a premeditated war that will bring a catastrophic loss of life and human suffering, and that the world will hold Russia accountable. Greg Milam is in the United States for us, and still very early there, Greg, but what do we expect Joe Biden to say about this when he eventually talks later today and presumably imposes these swingeing sanctions that he's long promised?
By checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour show is your best source into the property industry.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Body is your man. Bekutu, show them you got the cocoa set. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Harry Song, aka Mr. Songs. This is the Kingmaker Baba for the girls. We're here. This is Starr Radio. Don't go nowhere. UK, London. We they call them London for home. For here, we they call them London. And that's how you know. Just have fun and stay blessed.
Your life coach, and whenever I'm in London, I listen to Starr Radio UK right here. But guess what? You can listen to wherever you are.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7,
all around the world. In your car,
at work,
at home,
on your smartphone.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Are you ready to turn it up?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Heart is aching. Smile even though it's breaking.
When there are clouds in the sky, you get by. If you smile through your fear and sorrow, smile and maybe tomorrow you find that life is still worthwhile. If you just smile. Hey, this is Archie, and you're listening to Starr Radio.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. 'Cause all my life you haven't.
Okay, let me say a massive good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth, and those of you on other planets as well. We salute you all and we welcome you to the Thursday edition of the morning show. Today is the 24th day of February, the year 2022. At the time now, 10:44. I was doing my best to capture all the stories that is going on in Ukraine at the moment. A second barrage of attack taking place there as well. To say good morning to every one of you, and thank you very much to every one of you who've been wishing me a happy birthday on the social media platform. Well, today happens to my birthday, you know. Well, it's a sad day as well, the day that Russia invaded Ukraine. I'll be talking more about that in a moment. But wherever you are, do me a massive favor as a birthday gift to me. Share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones. What about that? That would be a very lovely present for me this morning. I cherish it greatly. Okay, 10:46 the time. I'm going to be cracking on because we've got lots to discuss. From the UK here to Africa to especially in Nigeria, where Olayomi will bring in us updates from Nigeria. There are lots of happenings there. Repercussions of what is happening in Russia as pertaining to other parts of the world. We'll be looking at all that in a moment. But wherever you are, I welcome you once again to the program. But let me say good morning to the team this morning. Mr. Olayomi, Kojo D, Felix all the way in Aberdeen, to our able producer, Mr. Francis Guy as well. Massive good morning to you all, gentlemen. And let me say good morning also to our listeners in the US, those of you in Europe, those of you in Asia, those of you in Australia, those of you on the African continent, in Ghana, Nigeria, Uganda, Kenya, South Africa. Yes, good morning to each and every one of you. And to all Bible Lifers, Bible Life Family Ministries, Head Pastor, Reverend HB, our brother HB, to every member of the congregation, we salute you all. Welcome once again to the program. Playing in the background something from the cover version of The Goodness of God by the Joyful Way Incorporated. But share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones, as I've said. Okay, now let's move on to the stories making the rounds on how the program is going to go. My apologies, I'm in a very good birthday mood, so you see my head is all over the place. Okay, so the quote for the night says, for whatever goal you have set for yourself, you need specialized knowledge that will enable you to attain that goal. For whatever goal that you set for yourself, you need a special knowledge to make you attain that goal. So search, learn, and you get there. Thank you very much once again. Yeah, I'm going to bring you the weather forecast and the travel update, a quick one from there, and then we'll go on to look at the stories making the rounds. As we know, tops of the stories already. And then 11 o'clock, Ms. Olayomi will be bringing us updates from Nigeria. We'll move on from there to have a look at some of the other stories making the rounds across the globe. But topmost on the agenda this morning, I'm asking the question, after the Russia invasion of Ukraine, what is the West going to do? You know, they are boasting of having what? More than 600 nuclear warheads. So, per a single country, Russia has got more than every other one across the globe. Now, sanctions, they are saying that, look, we have actually reserves of up to what? 600 billion? So even if you put sanctions now, before it impacts us or hits us negatively, it's going to take a long time. So what is the West going to do? Are they going to send boots on the ground to help the Ukrainians? Or are they then going to send them weapons that they've not actually used or been trained to use? How is it going to pan out? And how are the Baltic countries also going to be feeling at this time? Poland, Lithuania, and all those people who are part of the former USSR. What are they thinking? Okay, let's crack on. Now, when it comes to the weather front, well, we know there's going to be a barrage of snow in the northern part of the country. But when it comes to London and the southeast of England, this is what is going to happen. This afternoon will be dry as any early rains will clear. The odd shower will push in from the west, however, with the risk of hail or snow, breezy with moderate westerly winds expected as well. Now, tonight we'll see mostly clear skies with some patches of cloud in places. The odd spot of light rain cannot be ruled out. It will remain rather breezy throughout the night. Yes, Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Top the temperature is going to be 9 degrees, always going to be 2 degrees. Sunsets 17:31 and sunrise for tomorrow morning 06:57 hours.
All my days I've been held in your hand from the moment that I wake.
Okay, let me quickly bring you what is happening on the travels this morning. Yeah, on the travels this morning. Just bear with me. Let me switch the tunes. Check it out. Okay, on the underground, apart from the northern line that we know till mid-May that will be reopened, there's a part closure there, but that aside, all the others have got good service. Now, TFL Rail, DLR, London Traveling, London Overground, good service there as well. Now, moving on straight to the river bus, apart from the Woolwich Ferry, that is reduced service as well, all the others have got good service. Now, on the National Rail, Avanti West Coast Cross Country, East Midlands Railway, First Transparent Express, Gatwick Express, Great Western Railway have all got special service. Now, Northern Rail special service and Transport for Wales, minor delays there as well. Keep your eyes on the roads. Keep your eyes on the roads. I'm keeping navigated. I promise I'll be on the Star Radio Travel Update that comes away every weekday from 10:40. It's not 10:52. Now, so on the final segment of the travel update, that's the major routes in London. A24 has got closures, A316 closures, A4 closures, Central London Red Routes closures, and A12 serious delays, A23 serious delays. On that note, let me say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth. Enjoy your commute for today. But you know what? Continue to keep those eyes on the roads.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour show on Star Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour show is your best source into the property industry.
I love you, Lord. Oh, your mercy never fails me.
Okay, welcome back to the program Star Radio UK.
I've been held.
The goodness of God. The goodness of God. Share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones. As I said, that would be my best birthday present. What about that? Let me say good morning to my colleague, Mr. Frank Davids, and HRH Linda Palian, Empress Regina Enima. Massive good morning to you and to all presenters on Star Radio UK, KB Bossman, Vicky Newton, and all the team. I salute you and every one of you.
And all my life you have.
Okay, so what is happening from across the globe? When it comes to Nigeria, there's going to be lots of issues that we're going to be discussing. Disruption of election by unknown gunmen. 3 persons were allegedly burnt inside their cars. Many others injured as several heavily armed persons stormed the LG election venue for the LGA chairman ward. Okay, so we're going to bring you more on that. Councillor in Egwekama Amagu Obiegu Enugu State today. That was yesterday. Okay, so we're going to be looking at that and a lot more from Nigeria. This is just a small election. So when it comes to the general election, what is it going to be like? All right then. Now, when it comes to the stories making the rounds here, Russia attack on Ukraine, catastrophe for Europe. Prime Minister says Boris Johnson will give a televised statement later before revealing new sanctions against Russia to the MPs. Now, interestingly, I've been asking the question. Now, do you think the sanctions is going to work? Because this seems to be, something that has been well orchestrated, well planned. Taking into consideration anything, tightening the loose ends and everything, and making sure that this is going to work. So Russia at the moment doesn't think that there is going to be any impact for the next foreseeable future. But we have leaders of the West who are thinking that, well, with their strategies and sanctions, they will get it right. But my question is it because they are scared of the nuclear warheads that they have? That they might detonate it, hitting any country? And what are we doing? Ukraine was like being hyped. Hey, Ukraine, yeah, we're going to give you that. Now, when it comes to, the might of the Ukrainian army as compared to that of Russia, this Ukrainian forces are just chicken feed to them. Well, we'll be bringing you more on that front. End of legal need to self-isolate in England. All COVID legal restrictions are over in England as part of government living with COVID plan. Now, the question this morning I'm asking when it comes to your health as well is, if you know that you are showing all the symptoms, you are positive, would you still go out there to infect others? Well, this is a lot more going to be looking at. Don't you go away. Star Radio UK. And students to pay off loans into their 60s. Plans to say the government announces a shake-up of student finance in England to reduce the bill for taxpayers. Oh my goodness. Now, as I said earlier, Russian forces have entered from the north, south, and east, and there are reports of deaths at military bases and explosions near major cities. The EU says Vladimir Putin has brought war back to Europe. And what is the EU going to do about it? Is it all just going to be talk? The National Guard in Washington for tracker protests. Now, hundreds of unarmed troops will man traffic posts from Saturday ahead of convoys' arrival. And migrants are clashed with police in Mexico border town. More than 20 people were injured in the confrontation in Tapachula on Mexico's southern border. To Africa, tributes pour in for South Africa's rapper Ricky Rick. The artist who died on Wednesday had posted a final tweet saying he would return stronger, but he ended up dying. So what took place? We'll bring you more on that, fans of Ricky Rick. A Wonder Somali spokesman returns home. Mohammed Ibrahim Molimu leaves Turkey, where he had flown for medical treatment after a bomb attack. And in Guinea, ex-Guinea-Bissau Prime Minister Domingos Pereira has been barred from leaving the country. And then former ruling party demands release of Kabore from house arrest. That's pertaining to Burkina. Okay. Dragged to special prosecutor over Adwa Safo. And the Chief Justice commences investigation into courtroom shootings. Interestingly, was it maybe a discharge? I mean, you know, at times weapons do discharge. So, but they said the judge took to her heels, and then people, I mean, were scrambling to get out of the place. Well, I think he was thinking, he or she was thinking about what happened in Kumasi sometime back when the Delta Force stormed the courtroom. Okay, listen to Starr Radio UK. And Ashanti Regional soldiers set 4 excavators ablaze in private residence. This was not on a site where the person is maybe doing illegal mining. It's in his own compound. Now, how do you do that? Okay, there's a lot more we're going to be looking at in the next few moments. So coming your way from Starr Radio UK, it is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Enjoy the rest of the song, and I'll be bringing you Miss Olayomi Koiki in a jiffy. Stay tuned. The goodness of God.
Broadcasting worldwide online 24/7.
You are listening to Starr Radio my life. God, you've been so good. You've been so good. Hey. All my life, everybody say, all my life you have been faithful. You're a good God, yeah. All my life, you've been so good. You've been so good. Better to me than I've been to myself. With every breath that I will sing of God.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour show is your best source into the property industry.
Welcome back to the program. It is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. I can show you what is happening in Ukraine at the moment. Yes, or I can tell you about it. A rocket has hit. Is it Ukraine? Kiev, to be specific, and there is fire there. As whether they are just burning stuff there. Report: Ukraine military says the country is being hit by a second wave of missiles. Okay, that is going on there in Ukraine. But well, as we said, I will bring you. I'll be monitoring stories and events going on there. As and when we have anything, I will bring it to the fore. All right then. So it is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Waiting for Mr. Olayomi to hop on back in. Let's see whether we can get him. Whilst we try to bring you the happenings across the globe. Let's see whether we can get him through that. Okay, just bear with us. And as I said earlier on, share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones and invite them to like our pages as well, wherever you might be. Let's see. Okay. Yomi, we still cannot see you. We can only hear you. So you might have to call us back. We can't see you. Okay. Let's see. I think he might have to call, unless you are somewhere that you can only do audio.
Let me get it back. 1 minute.
Okay then. All right then. Thank you. Well, listeners, Mr. Olayomi for you, getting ready to bring you what is happening in Nigeria. But some of the stories happening in Nigeria that we're going to be looking at. The officer in charge. Okay. Still. Okay. Yeah. Okay. The officer explained. Okay, that the couple were dropped off by the hoodlums at Okpo, Niwi, south of LGA of the state at midnight on Monday. He'll be telling us more about this story, what it's all about. And the World Bank sanctions Nigeria firm, the MD, over alleged corrupt practices. The World Bank has sanctioned AIM Consultants Limited, a Nigerian consultancy company, and its managing director Amin Musali for alleged corrupt practices. More going to be coming on that front as well. And then Governor Efeanyi Oguanyi of Enugu State on Thursday summoned an emergency security meeting with critical stakeholders for 5 local government areas in the state over the worsening security in the state. Okay, so we're going to be talking about all this. We have Mr. Olayomi Kojo. We cannot see him. Let's see. I don't know whether the other set that you use, are you going to use that or if...
Okay, I'm not sure why you can't see me, but I can get a signal from here, so I'm not too sure why. Okay.
Give me just a couple of minutes. Let me just restart that, and then we come on. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, listeners, let's take a quick break, and then we'll bring Mr. Olayomi Koiki on. Stay tuned.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour show is your best source into the property industry.
Yes, welcome back to the program. Now we have Mr. Olayomi Koiki on. Yes, we have him on. So now let me go to him and say, Yomi, good morning to you.
Well, it is a very good morning back to you in the studio, and we say good morning to all our listeners and viewers from around the globe, and welcome to Starr Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London.
Yes, how are you doing and how is the family?
Well, we're doing very well as we continue to say, the longer you are still awake, you are still living, you're still breathing, there's so much to give thanks, and that is what we're saying this morning, the 24th day of February 2022, as we also continue to monitor the situations from around the globe. But this time around, it's all about everything happening in Nigeria after another beautiful edition of Niger Voices yesterday, that a lot of our listeners are now following the conversation, especially as Nigeria is moving into a very difficult time as the election is getting closer with so much activities, and we'll be discussing so much of that again this morning.
Yes, listeners, Mr. Olayomi Koiki. Now, a quick one on the Niger Voices yesterday. I mean, I know we're following the discussions, but others who didn't follow it, we want to tease them so that next time they join us on the Niger Voices. What do you want to tell them about the discussions that took place?
Well, yesterday, it's all about, the conversation. And what is that conversation? 2023 election, restructuring, revolution, constitution change, or those that are determining a dissolution of Nigeria where independent nation can come out of it. So these were the conversation yesterday for about 2 hours. We discussed also the issues surrounding freedom of expression, freedom of who you are as an individual, regardless of whether you are in the northern part of Nigeria, the middle belt, the southeast, or the southwest. We review what somebody like, Omoyele Sowore at the Yatta, most of the freedom activists, Chief Sunday Igboho is also still being locked away. We also discuss so many other areas, in terms of the, injustice that is happening in Nigeria. We talked about, the poverty. We talked about the education sector that I will be touching this week, because it is now count down to not just one strike, but almost 3 different sectors of Nigeria will be going on what we call indefinite strike, road blockage, which we're going to be discussing during this morning edition. But next week edition is going to be looking at Nigerians, youth. Do you still have hope in Nigeria? And if so, what are the reasons for that? Because this morning, I can confirm that we have some Nigerians that are stuck in Ukraine. During my conversation this morning, he's doing his master's there, and the bang of loud of noise makes him now understand that he's in a country that is about to go into a war.
As to whether it is about to or are already in the war is another question, but it looks like they seem to be already in the war. Listeners, Starr Radio UK, Mr. Olayomi Koiki. And let me take this opportunity to say good morning to Tosino. Tosino, you are in Moscow. Hope you are doing very well, sir. Get in touch with us. Let's know that you are doing well. Okay, and all the students, especially those of you from the African continent, especially who are in Ukraine. I mean, we know that most of the medical students are there. Those who are doing pharmacy and medicine and all that stuff. Those of you there, we hope that you are all doing very, very well. It's a very, very worrying time, as we are saying. As and when there are any updates, we'll bring you to the fore. Okay, now let's move on straight to the last story that you put across. That's pertaining to a disruption in election by unknown gunmen. Because you remember in the the last election, the last general election, where we had macho people. Where in Ghana we talk about big guys going to polling stations, taking ballot boxes, snatching them away, beating people up, and doing all sorts. Now this is just a local election that was taking place there. So what caused them to have people like that coming in, and what is going to be the repercussion should Nigeria have the election in 2023?
Let's first go back to our arrival in Nigeria just before the 2019 election. Starr Radio UK arrived in Nigeria as one of the the monitoring observer to that election. We were able to visit not just one particular state. We saw the election, we saw the manipulation, we saw the violence, we saw the killings, and those are on record for those that probably might have to go back into some of our archives, and which we're going to be discussing furthermore as the election is approaching again. The question then is, who are those behind some of these atrocities that does occur during election period? We do know, and from evidence base, that the hands of the politicians are mostly involved. Why do I say so? I've given again the scenarios of the elections that have occurred since 1999 till date, and the one that we witnessed where election ballots were stolen, election ballots were tampered with, and also individuals were not given the opportunity to cast their vote. What took place in Enugu State is what we can call a local government election. Nigeria, as present today, have 774 local government, and each of those local government elections comes up not simultaneously, as people might be asking, but we are not in the election period. Why is an election taking place, and why do 5 people have to be killed by what we call the unknown gunmen? Who are these unknown gunmen? These are the agents of most of the governors, the politicians that are attacking each other. And like I've said continuously, most local government elections get to be won outright by whoever is controlling that particular state. So as an example, if ABGA is the contender or the main party holder from the state governor, that means those particular states, every local government election would have to go for ABGA. We have seen even during the primaries of the former governor of Lagos State, Ambode, where on the point of that primaries, they were being told, those on the spot, that you cannot vote for Ambode right here because the leaders have said we have to vote for Sanwo-Olu. Sanwo-Olu is the current governor of Lagos State, but you could tell that the charade and the pushing of individuals to vote for who they don't want to vote for does occur not just in the southwest, but yesterday 5 lives were lost during an election, local government election in Enugu State, the southeast of Nigeria.
Listeners, Star Radio UK, and that's the question where that's where we put the question: do you think a 2023 elections under the same constitution should hold in Nigeria, or do you think that it's about time that this time round we call off the elections and then let everybody, those who want to break up Nigeria, or if there's a need for, not the need, if so that constitution will be relooked at, okay, amendment of it, and then we can all come back and say, okay, we think that this time round it's a fair game. Now let's get on with it. But we want to have your take on what is going on in Nigeria. Should Nigeria go for the 2023 elections? Looking at what is happening in this local election that took place yesterday, and 5 people dying out of that. Now, when it comes to general election, what do you think is going to happen? Well, we want to hear from you. That is all Star Radio UK. Mr. Olayomi Koike bringing you updates from Nigeria. Okay, now let's go to some of the other stories. The officer explained that the couple were dropped off by the hoodlums at Okpa Newi, south of the LGA, the state of at midnight on Monday. What story is that? Who are these people killed? What happened to them?
Well, people get killed, frequently in Nigeria. And that is why some look at Nigeria as a crime scene. What do I mean by that? I mean, killings that occurred, whether it's ritual killings, whether it's individual killing, or the, what we now call, the attack on the individuals in Nigeria. What we can say is, this particular headline that you're reading, occurred again in Nigeria, where 2 people were killed on their way to the airport. The question we should then ask is, why the killing is the question. I mean, a lot of killings that occur sometimes could be private. It could be, it could be assassination attack, or it could just be people that do not believe that, the unity that we continue to discuss, it's not really working in Nigeria, and that could lead to so many destructions of lives and property. So this is actually what happened, in this part of the globe all the time when we say that the security architect of each of the states, is still in the hands of the federal based on the 1999 constitution that was put together by the military decree. And that is why this morning 2 individuals were killed on their way to the airport in Nigeria.
Listeners, Star Radio UK updates from Nigeria.
In Newi South local government of the state.
Interesting. But the story says that the hoodlums, the officers were saying that the hoodlums dropped these people there. I mean, after they've killed them. So what is it about? Did they see them? Can they identify them, or did they had had they covered their faces, having whatever to protect them from being seen? What do you have any details about that?
Well, like I did mention, it is not the first time that we've seen, this sort of killings that have occurred in the past. As of last week or 2 weeks ago, we saw, a video that popped up where, an individual was killed, I believe, in Ogun State. And the reason for that is, again, could it be, whether there was a business transaction that has gone wrong. But these 2 individuals that were killed were literally either traveling out of the state to, maybe on a local or international flight. The gunmen that adopted couple going to the airport killed the 2 police escort as well. So that means, just the same way that we've seen killings in different highways in different part of the state in Nigeria, it is not as different as this. But the question is, do we get a thorough investigation that lead to the killings? Just as about 2 weeks ago, 13 lives were lost in southwest of Nigeria in Idiakwa in Ibadan when there was a robbery incident. As we speak today, it doesn't seem that case is already still highlighted in most part of the state this morning.
Well, listeners, Star Radio UK. But when it comes to the finances of Nigeria, how is Nigeria doing? So we know that the World Bank has sanctioned one consultancy, Nigerian consultancy company, and its managing director Amin Musali, for alleged corrupt practices. We know from time to time here, even some of the banks, the big banks, have had issues like that where sanctions are placed on them from various countries, or even this country as well. Is it one of those things that have happened? And what actually financial dealings were they handling that caused this to happen?
Most situation when it comes to the politics in Nigeria, and likewise those dealings that sometimes have big impact on millions of Nigerians. We've seen irregularity happening in Nigeria through businesses and companies that have been set up either through a proxies or a company that are set up, for a selfish gain rather than for the benefit of, the particular, reason that it was set up for. What we know is now that the World Bank, is saying that these, 1 minute, I'm just trying to put that back up. World Bank has now sanctioned a Nigerian firm, for alleged corrupt practice. The World Bank has sanctioned AIM Consultants Limited, a Nigerian consultancy company, and its managing director, Amin, for alleged corrupt practice. The firm which was involved in Nigeria erosion. We have a lot of erosion in the southeast of Nigeria. So that means, sometimes, people do get money from the international community, whether through the World Bank or the IMF, or sometimes through, different European Union that set up different funding for that purpose. But sometimes this project doesn't get to be executed, or shallow execution of it. The farm which was involved in the Nigerian erosion and what we call the watershed managing project was sanctioned for 52 months for improper payment to the tune again of 12.9 million naira to certain projects, according to officials. So it's again about the part of a corruption system that has cropped and eaten up most projects. Should have been helping Nigerians to have a better life, because erosion creates a lot of damage should the rain start falling.
Now, interestingly, the question I wanted to ask is it the World Bank that initiated that particular
that funded the project?
That funded. Yeah, the World Bank funded the project.
That is why this company has been kind of sanctioned. So, yes, like I said, a lot of NGOs, a lot of different companies know the nitty-gritty. And especially they do have partners that are operating with them from not just in Nigeria, because if you're going to be approaching World Bank, especially before they release funds, that means there's evidence base of erosion and there's need for it. But the question is, if you're now giving the money, does the project get executed? And that does happen, not just in in one state, across each of the states where billions of naira have been, have been used for different projects, either the World Bank project, either the funding from America, from whatever you can think of. But the problem then is, most of these projects, when visited or when the World Bank sent their own representatives, realize that it is not what it was told would be done when they were releasing the fund.
Interesting. It's not that will not be only peculiar with Nigeria. I think when it comes to Africa, and especially the West African sub-region, we see that a lot there. I remember a few years back, we were talking about Nigeria, where a whole bridge that's supposed to be constructed, the bridge wasn't constructed. It was constructed on paper. The money was the payment was done, yet the bridge was nothing to be seen. And other times where they've constructed it, they've done a shabby work and then it's collapsed. So I don't know. Do you think that maybe the Nigerian government, the federal government in this case, the inspectorate division of the federal government, who has to go around to see if these projects that are being undertaken have been done and done properly, do you think they are up and running?
Well, that then will lead us to the question as an example of these influx of adulterated petrol into the country. It's still part of the negligence that should be working for millions of Nigerians, but rather is working in reverse, for Nigerians. So what do I mean by that? I mean, if we have, as an example, in a situation where, we will have, a system that is in place to make sure that everything that is meant to do the needful, especially project that's meant to be executed, whether the funding is coming from Nigeria as a foreign investment or just a kind of a grant that is given for that particular project. So yes, until we have a system that works properly, fully, to make sure that if anyone is not doing the project as it's meant to be executed, they are fully punished under the law. But sometimes they get pampered and probably get sentenced less than those that are even committing bigger crimes, because they've been able to extract few money back from them. for some time now, all the money is extracted. I mean, we're talking about almost 12 million naira there. Is World Bank going to be able to get the money back? Is the question. I'm sure the answer will be no.
Well, the answer is no, as we know, and we know some of the big wigs in that part of the country also get their stake in there. So you don't do the project, you don't do it very well. The one who's supposed to the inspectorate division, they will just take something and then shabby job. That is in the country as a whole will have to pay if it's a loan or whatever was given, or if it's a grant that's supposed to be used. We wouldn't have used it the right way. Well, it is Starr Radio UK. Let me say good morning to Anthony Adedeji. I hope you are doing very well, sir. Okay, Starr Radio UK. Updates from Nigeria, 11:29 from here. Miss Olayomi Koike in our North London studios. I'm Archie here. Yomi, over to you for the rest of the stories making the rounds.
Thank you very much and welcome back again. It is Starr Radio UK as we continue to review and discuss every update on the news coming out of Nigeria. It's not going very well between the federal government and ASU. Strike continues. ASU insists as Ngigi pleads with the union. The ASU president, Professor Emmanuel Shodeke, and the Minister of Labour and Employment, Chris Ngigi, after a closed-up meeting, the Minister of Labour and Employment, Dr. Chris Ngigi, has appealed to the Academic Staff Union of University to call off its 4-week strike before the expiration date. According to report that Ngigi had met with the leadership of the ASU during a closed-door meeting on Tuesday. During the meeting, which lasted for several hours, the minister has now also accused ASU of claiming that the government had failed to implement some long-standing agreement. Ngige also in an interview told the correspondent that ASU demands were being reviewed, saying he will meet with ASU and Nigerian Interreligious Council next week. The question then goes back to the strike that is now coming up on Monday for the total road blockage across the 36 states of the Federation. A lot of Nigerians have to be monitoring this carefully because you might wake up on Monday coming, which Starr Radio UK will be also probably have to travel to Nigeria. One of our correspondents that will be reporting from Nigeria to see should that go ahead. But we still have the time frame. Today is Thursday, so there's still about almost 4 days before that is not going to happen. And the only way that is not going to happen, according to the Nigerian Student Association, that have said that they will be blocking off all the major highway should the strike not come out. Maybe by today, tomorrow, or over the weekend, coming up to Monday morning, the strike might be coming up to an end. But according to the information, the National Association of Nigerian Students to embark on a nationwide protest over ASU strike. The body intends to launch a full blockage of all major federal highways in the 36 states of the Federation to press home their demand by February 28, 2020. Not that alone, it doesn't seem to be coming very good for the government at this particular time. The Ogoni Youth and the Ogoni ex-militant forum are also to embark on a 1-month peaceful protest coming up on the 1st of March 2022 over alleged failure of the federal government to honor its pact of agreement reached during the Ogoni leader visit last year. Again, not a very good news coming from the Maritime Workers Union of Nigeria to embark on an indefinite strike from the 1st of March over alleged of non-compliance with the maritime laws by the multinational oil firm. Customers are now being advised to take immediately delivery of their cargoes to minimize impact to supply chain and logistics. So that means that from Monday next week, we're expecting about 3 different protests across Nigeria, and that means that might have big impact in probably those that are traveling to Nigeria or those that are planning to travel out of Nigeria, because if the major roads are blocked, I'm not sure how you might want to be traveling to the airport, whether in Abuja, in Kano, as that is going to have a big impact. We're going to take a couple of more and then come back again to you in the studio. NRC charges Nigerians to help tackle vandalism of equipment. It is not just in Nigeria that we do see vandalization. We see that as well in United Kingdom, in America, in Europe, in other African countries. The Nigerian Railway Corporation, also known as the NRC, has called on Nigerians, especially those communities where the rail line passes through, to help tackle the persistent vandalism of rail tracks and other equipment by criminals. lamenting that it has become daily occurrence of attacking the railway tracks in various parts of Nigeria. Again, at the media parley with the journalists at the National Railway Corporation headquarters in Lagos, Mr. Fidat Okira said some bad Nigerians were out to sabotage the effort of the federal government to revive the railway, and hands must be on deck to salvage the situation. So we're going to be continuing to monitor that as well. Let's go straight and pick up, one news from the business, and then I'll come back again to you in the studio. Domain name registration renewal slide from 184,000 in November to 178,000. What could be the reason why those that are meant to be registering their businesses is dropping down? Nigeria witnessed a drop in the domain name registration and renewal in the last 3 months as registration figures dropped from 184,341 to November last year to 178,097 in January 2022. The latest statistics released by the Nigerian Internet Registration Association, the body responsible for hosting and domesticating domain name in Nigeria, has revealed. Remember that in the foreign world, almost everything is now the internet. So, and if you're having a small business or you're running an operation, whatever it is, you should have what we call a website. And that is the same thing, for those of you that might want to visit the Starr Radio UK website anytime for you to get the latest news and updates. So what literally means that during the period of maybe the Twitter ban in Nigeria, businesses are down, more people are now not renewing their website. Just yesterday, I had to renew mine here in UK because I do know the reason that if people visit the website and it's down, that means the trust between myself and those that are listening to us might not be there. And the purpose of a website is also to give the image to the world what you do and how you do it, whether you're selling, whether you're buying, or whether you're just using it for something of good purpose or something that will benefit the humanity or just something that could be of benefit to you. But if those in Nigeria are no longer renewing their website or not even adding more to what we have, should we be concerned? According to the statistics obtained by the NERA official website, although there was a slight growth in the total number of the domain name registration renewal, restoration around 2019, the figures have now dropped coming to 2022. So we continue to go and monitor that because that is very, very important. One more before we come back again to you in the studio. Starr Radio UK is where we are transmitting from. As we continue to say, education is very, very important. Group to empower 1,000 secondary school teachers with digital skills. TechQuest Academy, a non-profit technology education provider, has now partnered with the IHS Nigeria Limited, one of the largest independent owners, operators, and developers of the shared telecommunication infrastructure in the world, to improve digital literacy of secondary schools. I also hope they would have enough internet access if they're distributing some of this technology. Because the problem in Nigeria is not that we don't have those that have been sending things down there, but sometimes when you look at the electricity, as it's getting more expensive for Nigerians to get what we call petrol, and each of these petrol sometimes run to the schools, run to the hospitals, small-scale business or large-scale industry, just as we saw yesterday when the finance minister in Abuja is also using what we call a backup battery that eventually led to the fire incident at the finance headquarters in Abuja yesterday. So the question is not about supporting, providing technology. The problem is about if the technology is available for millions of Nigerians as we speak today. I'll come back now to you in the studio.
Well, listeners, Mr. Olayomi bringing you updates from Nigeria. Interesting stories that he's touched so far. But quickly, let's go to, the latter one, briefly. Then we come to the ASU and the National Association of Nigerian Students protest that is going to be taking place on Monday. Now, this finance minister, you mean to say that his backed up battery was the cause of a fire in the finance ministry? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, yesterday there was a fire in the finance ministry headquarters, and the reason given by the spokesman on behalf of the government representing the ministry building says it was a backup battery in one of the building under their basement that led to the fire.
Wow. Okay.
And the reason why they use a backup battery again is because, as we do know, Nigeria does not have a power. That we do have a power shortage problem. not just in different homes, even in the government offices as well.
Was that serious distraction, or just briefly and then they managed to contain it?
According to them, they were able to take it down even before the fire brigade arrived.
Okay.
But like I said, it was not as what we thought when the fire was coming out from the building.
Okay, listen to Starr Radio UK. Now let's move on to the ASU and the National Association of Students. Now ASU has been on strike for how long now?
Well, the strike started about some few days ago. We'll probably say about less than a couple of days, less than 5 days. But we do know that it's meant to be a 1 month strike. There's still a loggerhead between the federal government and the ASU team or the union, and that is now putting out the anger on the student that have saying that this is really having an impact on them. Remember, we played it in one of the video of one of the young Nigerians that was complaining about the situation in Nigeria when it comes to education. Let's hear what she has to say under 26 seconds.
It's good news. Why? Because I have things to do. I'm doing photography and I'm trying to relax because school is just taking up all my time, and obviously nobody's serious with school in this country, including the government themselves. So you just have to find something going on for yourself, something that works for you, and school is not it.
You heard it there. You just have to find something that will work for you. School is not it.
Now, so if the students go on strike, which I know for sure, they're going to, the various state governors are going to unleash their security apparatus on them. So I'm thinking about loss of life, but would that force the federal government to come to the table to negotiate something with ASU? Is that what they intend doing?
Well, if the students are saying that they will be blocking all the major highway, let's start looking at movement of people from one point to the other. That would definitely disrupt. That would have impact on the state. The state would then have to come out and try to disperse some of these students of the major road. When they talk about blocking the major highway, you can then start thinking of different of these major highway. But the question is, are each of the governors going to sit back and allow this to happen? So who wins? And that would then take us to the reminder of what happened during the NSAS. They were able to hold majority of each of the states, mostly in the southwest, probably not less in the north, during the NSAS. And we saw after 7 days, the governors were had enough, the presidency was having enough, they were not ready to negotiate or listen to the student, or not the student then, but the majority of Nigerians that were saying that they were being tortured, abused by the Nigerian police force. Then what happened? The Lekki massacre happened. People were killed in Lekki massacre, but not just in Lekki, Odigbo in the southeast, we saw the massacre, and we now saw a lot of inquiries that was launched out. As we speak today, those inquiries have been swept under the carpet. Nobody has been punished yet, and the government is still living in denial that nobody died, even with evidence says more than 100 people have died. What they're saying is, where are the bodies? Where are the families? The families won't come out because we're living in a society in Nigeria where people are scared. Maybe the government might come back and pick them after nobody is looking for them again.
Now, so how long does the National Association of Students want to go on with this protest or demonstration that you're talking about? Is it just for that day? If it's for a day, some people say that
as long as the strike is still going on, is what they plan. So that means the longer the government doesn't come up with sorting out the situation with the the association of ASU, that means we continue to have a roadblock. And this happened, if a roadblock goes on the first day, you can think about it, that it's going to last a long time before they can clear the road.
Wow, interesting. We'll see. We'll follow it very closely. As Olayomi said, we'll try to see whether we can get reports on the ground there in various places to tell us what is going on Monday. But we hope that the federal government come back to the table and negotiate with the ASU so that we forestall anything of the sort happening. Now, the vandalism that goes on the railway. Now, I know that Nigeria was doing well in the railway network. There were new trains and stuff like that, very fast trains and this and that was introduced. Now, can you just give us a background of that? How far has that gone? Is it? How many states have even got that?
When we talk about the Nigerian rail, is something that was set up during the British, ruling Nigeria, leading to the amalgamation, and also, and they were probably using that for the purpose of moving goods, natural resources from different part of Nigeria, not literally, using it for good, for passenger. But let's come up now and say that things have changed, in the last couple of years. Government has tried to improve some of these rail network. Millions have been borrowed, from China, to put this in place. But the question then again is, you did ask how many states are having these. Not all the states, but sometimes they do pass through different states. Return of commercial rail transport will boost economic development, according to the NRC. Demand public support for its sustainer. This was in February 18 when this article came up. In retrospect, there was a time in Nigeria when rail transport system was the pride of the nation. During this period, the general public put a marked premium on the train. So that means back then, people can easily use the train to move from point A to B. But we have now seen that the terrorists are now taking advantage of now creating havoc, manipulation of, destruction of the rail line that we've seen. And we've also seen explosive being used. And the question is, how, do we protect, these rail tracks, from being vandalized, from this, from safety of millions of Nigerians that are making use of it, is a question that a lot of Nigerians will continue to ask. Because, if you're going to be traveling on the train, you must also be ready to say that is going to work for you, so that you do not get caught up. Remember that I think some few weeks ago as well, we saw that a train that was meant to travel from Kano to Lagos got stuck for 3 days. People were begging for them to be rescued. So the reflection on the Nigerian rail project is a big one that we continue to monitor, but it is a good thing, but the safety is very, very key as well.
Well, listeners, Mr. Olayomi Koiki bringing you updates from Nigeria. Now, let's go back to him and let's listen to what is left and then what is going on the social media platform. Over to you, sir.
We'll go straight to the social media this morning. Quite a lot is happening on the social media, as also Nigerians are monitoring the situation as well inside. So the tweet this morning is about Nigerians in Ukraine. We do know Russian embassy has advised Nigerians in Ukraine to remain calm and vigilant. The Nigerian embassy in Kiev, Ukraine, has advised Nigerians in the country to be calm and vigilant in the light of the invasion. This is just coming up, from new travel advice by the embassy of Nigeria in Ukraine. The attention of the embassy has been drawn to declaration of state of emergency and martial law on the entire territory of Ukraine, except the Donetsk and Luhansk region, by the government of Ukraine, effective from midnight of February 23rd, 2022, for a period of 30 days, as well as the latest development of the Ukraine-Russia crisis, with the regional commissions are to be decided on the necessary security measures to adopt and strengthen the protection of public and order. So now, the Nigerian government, for those who still consider it appropriate to remain in the country, be assured that the embassy remains open for its consular duties and responsibility at all times. It will always avail you of all updates on necessary. This is coming from the Nigerian embassy in Kiev, as we continue to also monitor that. Like I said this morning, I received a video from one of the Nigerians that are living there that said to me that when he was speaking to somebody as of this morning, he thought everything was quiet until there was a big bang noise. Looking through his window, there was all kind of flames. So the tweet is already now focusing on Nigerians as well. Again, Fisayo Shoyombo said, reading the travel advisory by the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, NIDCON, telling Nigerians in Ukraine to be responsible for their personal security and safety, I am thoroughly ashamed to be Nigerian, a country so useless and bold-faced in its uselessness to its citizens. Reno Omokeri, a very, very critiques of this government, and also a one-time, working during the PDP era of Jonathan. Nigerians can do nothing to stop Ukraine war, but Nigerians can do something to stop Buhari looting the oil windfall that we acquire to Nigeria during the war. Oil is now selling at about $100 per barrel. It will still arise. China has stopped lending us money. Buhari has been seen money looting. One more again from the happening of Nigerians. Our thoughts and prayers are with everyone in Ukraine right now, and Nigerians living in Ukraine at this worrying time. Again, Aye Mojuba says, has Buhari government said anything on how to evacuate Nigerians to Ukraine? A man that cannot even secure those at home.
Wow. Listeners, Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Well, that's an advice to all our listeners, especially those of you from from Africa who are studying in Ukraine, especially. We want to say that, please take good care of yourself, because it's a very, very volatile situation that is on way there, because as we are on air monitoring some of the stories, a second barrage of attacks have been taking place there as well. We know in Kiev, people are trying to flee the country, and there's been a road blockade because of that, because of the traffic. So please, I don't know, but take good care of yourself, as Yomi has said. Yomi, before you go,
make sure you stay tuned on Star Radio UK and all our other platforms, where we'll be giving you exactly like Archie said. We're not just Nigerians. We have a lot of Africans that are studying masters, degree or first degree in Ukraine, and mostly in Russia. All we can do is make sure you stay tuned with Star Radio UK and all of our networks for more updates as we continue to monitor the crisis between Russia and Ukraine in the 21st century, where we can monitor it on the right time, right pace, until probably shutdown of communication line in Ukraine. But at the moment, we're still getting the feed coming out of Ukraine.
Yeah. Yomi, let me say thank you very much. Have a lovely day.
Bye for now.
Bye. Well, listeners, it is Star Radio UK. Let me say good morning to, or good afternoon, because Anthony, Prince Adibanjo, where you are, it's an afternoon. So afternoon to you. We are doing very well, and hope you are doing very, very well too. Okay, Star Radio UK. We're going to take a break, and once we come back, some musical break as well. Once we come back, we continue with the show. But I'll be looking at, well, the invasion of Ukraine by Russia unleashing what do you call it, the military on Ukraine at the moment. There is lots happening. I'll try to bring you bits and pieces of what is happening there, in not only audio but in the visual feeds as well. So just stay with us. Don't go away, because you wouldn't miss anything there. I'm going to make sure I deliver on that promise. So stay tuned. Don't you go anywhere. Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour show on Star Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour show is your best source into the property industry.
This is Star Radio UK.
Broadcasting worldwide online 24/7.
Which way to go? I love my fatherland. Oh yeah. I want to know. Yes, I want to know. Which way Nigeria is heading to. Which way Nigeria. Which way to go? I love my fatherland. Oh yeah. I want to know. I want to know which way Nigeria is heading to. Many years after independence, we still find it hard to start. How long shall we be patient before we reach the promised land? Let's save Nigeria, so Nigeria won't die. Which way Nigeria? Which way? Which way Nigeria? Tell me which way to go. I love my fatherland. Oh yeah. I want to know. Yes, I want to know which way Nigeria is heading to. Every little thing that goes wrong, we start to blame the government. We know everything that goes wrong because we are part of the government. Let's save Nigeria, so Nigeria won't die. Which way Nigeria? Which way? Which way Nigeria? Tell me which way to go. Which way to go? I love my fatherland. Oh yeah. I want to know. Want to know which way Nigeria is heading to. Inefficiency and indiscipline is ruining the country now. Corruption here, there and everywhere. Inflation is soaring high. Let's save Nigeria, so Nigeria won't die. Which way Nigeria? Which way Nigeria? Which way to go? Which way to go? I love my fatherland. Oh sure, sure. I want to know. Yes, I want to know which way Nigeria is heading to. We made mistakes during the oil boom, not knowing that was our doom. Some people now have everything, while many have nothing. Let's save Nigeria, so Nigeria won't fall. Which way Nigeria? Which way Nigeria? Which way to go? Which way to go? I love my fatherland. Oh yeah. I want to know. Yes, I want to know which way Nigeria is heading to. Green revolution is a reality. Let's give it a chance to grow. Let's join our hands to farm the land so we can have enough food to show. Let's save Nigeria, so Nigeria won't die. Which way Nigeria? Which way? Which way Nigeria? Which way to go? Way to go? I love my fatherland. Oh sure. I want to know. Yes, I want to know which way Nigeria is heading to. Our ambition to be millionaires is running the country down. We all want to be millionaires and to live in the air. Oh, let's save Nigeria, so Nigeria won't die. Which way Nigeria? Which way Nigeria? Which way to go? Which way to go? I love my fatherland. Oh yeah. I want to know. Yes, we want to know which way Nigeria is heading to. Remember that
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
Let's start right now to rebuild ourselves so as to make the country smile. Let's save Nigeria, so Nigeria won't die. Which way Nigeria? Which way? Which way Nigeria? Which way to go? Which way to go? I love my fatherland. Oh sure. I want to know. Yes, I want to know. Which way?
In the West predicted it. Yes, the intelligence for once maybe was spot on, but it still sent shockwaves through Western capitals because there was that question always in President Putin's head. Is he rational? Is he really going to push through with this? Well, yes, he did push through with it. And I think even in the White House, there was intakes of breath as this happened. A statement came pretty quickly from President Biden. I'll read it to you. The prayers of the entire world are with the people of Ukraine tonight as they suffer an unprovoked and unjustified attack by Russian military forces. President Putin has chosen a premeditated war that will bring a catastrophic loss of life and human suffering, and the world will hold Russia accountable. I will be monitoring the situation, President Biden says, from the White House this evening, and will continue to get regular updates and from my national security team. Tomorrow I will meet with my G7 counterparts in the morning. Now, he will be part of that G7 meeting at 9 o'clock Eastern time, and he will address the American people at noon.
OK, Mark, thank you very much.
Well, so that is what is happening when it comes to events happening in Ukraine at the moment. Now, as we know, the Russians have invaded Ukraine as it stands. Now, my question is, how did we get here? And then, looking at what is happening, is it like the same thing that happened in the beginning of the Second World War, where Hitler invaded Poland first? So, to what end? How far is Russia going to go? When it comes to sanctions, they're saying that, look, guys, yeah, you can place the sanctions, every sanction that you want on us. However, you know what? We don't give a monkeys about it, because we have a reserve of out to $600 billion that we can rely on safely. So by the time the imposition of sanctions begin to hurt, they would have annexed lots of other countries as well, or the whole of whatever is going to happen there. Now, as I said earlier on, whilst we were on air, there was a barrage of announcement taking place. But let's cross over to the Prime Minister, who is giving a statement there as well pertaining to this issue, and I'll come back to you. Stay tuned.
Country without any and without any credible excuse. Innumerable missiles and bombs have been raining down on an entirely innocent population. A vast invasion is underway, by land, by sea, and by air. And this is not, in the infamous phrase, some faraway country of which we know little. We have Ukrainian friends in this country, neighbours, co-workers. Ukraine is a country that for decades has enjoyed freedom and democracy and the right to choose its own destiny. We and the world cannot allow that freedom just to be snuffed out. We cannot and will not just look away. It's because we've been so alarmed in recent months at Russian intimidation that the UK became one of the first countries in Europe to send defensive weaponry to help the Ukrainians. Other allies have now done the same, and we will do what more we can in the days ahead. Today, in concert with our allies, we will agree a massive package of economic sanctions designed in time to hobble the Russian economy. And to that end, we must also collectively cease the dependence on Russian oil and gas that for too long has given Putin his grip on Western politics. Our mission is clear. Diplomatically, politically, economically, and eventually militarily, this hideous and barbaric venture of Vladimir Putin must end in failure. And so I say to the people of Russia, whose president has just authorized a tidal wave of violence against a fellow Slavic people, as the parents of Russian soldiers who will lose their lives, I cannot believe this is being done in your name, or that you really want the pariah status it will bring to the Putin regime. And I say to the Ukrainians in this moment of agony, we are with you. We're praying for you and your families, and we are on your side. And if the months ahead are grim and the flame of freedom burns low, I know that it will blaze bright again in Ukraine, because for all his bombs and tanks and missiles, I don't believe that the Russian dictator will ever subdue the national feeling of the Ukrainians and their passionate belief that their country should be free. I say to the British people and all who have heard the threats from Putin against those who stand with Ukraine. We will, of course, do everything to keep our country safe. We're joined in our outrage by friends and allies around the world. We will work with them for however long it takes to ensure that the sovereignty and independence of Ukraine is restored. Because this act of wanton and reckless aggression is an attack not just on Ukraine, it's an attack on democracy and freedom in Eastern Europe and around the world. This crisis is about the right of a free, sovereign, independent European people to choose their own future. And that is a right that the UK will always defend.
So the Prime Minister Boris Johnson there in his statement to the nation responding to Russia's decision to launch a major military assault.
Okay, that was the Prime Minister Boris Johnson also making a statement, a TV statement this morning pertaining to what the UK stance pertaining to this invasion is. But the question that I've asked this morning is, yes, Russia has invaded Ukraine. Well, we had Joe Biden saying that if the moment they step foot on any part of Ukrainian soil, there's going to be a repercussion. Now, what is going to be the action? What is going to be the repercussion that they were promising? Now, we know that we have these Ukrainian, what do you call them, soldiers who were saying that in 2014, when they were invaded, some of their communities were taken. Okay, some areas were annexed by Russia. They didn't have the manpower to do that. Fortunately, they think that now they have the manpower to do so. But if you look at the Russian artillery and everything that they have, the logistics that the Russians have, though we know that the Western countries are promising them, Ukrainians, that we're going to give you, not even the UK has given them lots of it. Now, earlier on at dawn when we were monitoring the happenings, what they were saying, because you know that Russia is 2 hours ahead of us, what they were saying there, was that Ukraine is 2 hours ahead of us. What they were saying there was that the Ukrainians have been able to shoot down some planes of Russia, and a few tankers maybe bombed and stuff like that. But with what is happening now, what measure do you think, or what measures do you think the West can take that can actually cause Putin to say, halt, let's hold our horses, let's go back and let's maybe start talking again? What measures? Because when it comes to the sanctions, which he knew for sure that sanctions was going to be imposed on them, he decided, let's prepare for it, and they actually prepared for it. And therefore, nothing, somebody will say, absolutely nothing was going to come out from that side. So, no impact. Now, assuming that with the further sanctions that is still going to be imposed on them by the West, we're going to be seeing maybe something happening. But let's say in the next 12 months before it has its impact on them, they would have finished it. I was asking the question, whilst we were doing the broadcast, I was asking myself, which country did Hitler annex or invade first? It was Poland. He invaded Poland and then went on to invade some of the other countries around them. He invaded Poland. I was trying to get a few information there. So he invaded Poland first, and then that's in 1939, September 1939, he invaded Poland, then Denmark in April 1940, then Norway in April 1940, Belgium in May 1940, the Netherlands in May 1940, Luxembourg in May 1940, France in May 1940, Yugoslavia in 1941, and Greece in April 1941. So you see that in a span of what? Call it less than 24 months, he's been able to do that. Okay? Now, we see Putin trying to put everything in place. So when the Americans were saying that, look, we can smell that this is what the intention of Putin was. We were all doubting. Honestly, we were doubting. We thought, no, that's not true. That is not true. That is not true. Okay, some of us have, said why or have defended why Russia had to take that stance. Okay, we all well and good, but to invade them after Putin was saying that they don't have any intentions, that they were there for military exercises, which they normally do. Do you trust Putin now? And what measures or what steps or counteractive measures should the West take to forestall peace in Europe? Because as it is now, it looks like we are in war. And as whether that's going to escalate to the Third World War, I'm not very sure about that, because the Balkan states now, those who are surrounding, who were part of the USSR, will all be quivering in their boots. They will be, because after Ukraine, what are you going to stretch forth and go to where? Which other country? My goodness, I want to know what you think about all that. It is now gone exactly 9 minutes past the top of the hour. 12:09. And it is Starr Radio UK. Let me announce the lines open. It's 0208 133 2257 and 58 0208 133 2257 or 58. Now, those of you in US, Caribbean, and Canada area, it is 0017183032737 0017183032737. You can also text or WhatsApp at 0753966174 0753966174. Our Twitter handle is Starr Radio UK, and email address is info@starradiouk.com. Yes. Get in touch. Just in case you want to Skype us as well, you can do so. Our Skype ID is Starr Radio UK 1. Okay then. Now let's look at okay, let me just bring you a quick update from what is happening here in the UK, and then we can just move on straight to the news across the globe. Topmost is what is happening when it comes to Russia invasion of Ukraine. Now, UK will not look away from Russia invasion. Boris Johnson says President Putin has launched a vast invasion by land, by sea, and by air without provocation. Now, Boris Johnson is about to give a statement on which I brought your way already. I captured a bit of it, but he's going to go give another statement in the Houses of Parliament so that they can decide on which other measures they're going to be taking. He condemned a catastrophe for our. He condemned us a catastrophe for our continent. So just continue to follow us. As I said, as and when there are any updates, I'll be switching scenes for you to not miss anything on that. So continue to stay tuned to us. Now, Queen has postponed 2 more virtual engagements. One of the stories making that a 95-year-old is continuing with light duties for 4 days. 4 days after her positive COVID test was announced. Yesterday, my daughter came home after work and was saying that, oh, did you hear that information? That is what was going on Twitter, fake news pertaining to the Queen's demise. And I was like, what are they talking about? Blah blah blah. So I was like, no. I've been monitoring stories since the afternoon, all the news that is making around. So I can tell emphatically that the Queen is well. She even had this in a meeting with the a hearing with the Prime Minister. So what are they talking about? Well, so the fake news is traveling around, but we wish her a speedy recovery. Now, end of legal need to self-isolate in England. All COVID legal restrictions are over in England as part of the government's living with COVID plan. Now, I asked the question this morning once again there as well. Now, so assuming you test positive, assuming you listening to me test positive, now there's no legal restrictions. Are you going to say, because I know how transferable, how communicable this disease is, so I'm going to be, staying away? So maybe working from home, or if your work is such that you cannot work from home, you just take some time off, which you know that if like earlier on when you take time off for COVID, government has to see to it that you are paid. And this time around there isn't anything like that. But someone will say that, well, you can take it as your a sick leave. So what about that? So if that can take place, but can you just imagine the number of times that people get infected with COVID, especially the Omicron variant? It's quite a worrying one. I don't know what you think about that, but it's going to be a tough time. Are you going to put on your mask when you are on the underground or traveling on public transport, or when you go to the shops? Are you going to have your masks on, or are you going to say to hell with it? Now freedom, but you know freedom, COVID doesn't know the freedom. It's still going on. Now we have to take care of ourselves wherever you are. Do so. It is Star Radio UK. Now interestingly, we've been encouraging our little ones to go to to explore when it comes to their education, go to the highest heights. Well, students are to pay off loans into their 60s, plans are saying. Now, okay, I've got Kojo, but let me just read that story quickly. Now, students who start university next year could be paying off their loans for 40 years after graduating under new government plans for England. Under the current system, loans. Okay, just bear with me. It looks like my mouse is frozen. Now, now I managed to move it. Now, under the current system, loans are written off after 30 years. Now, the government says extending the repayment period as part of a student's finance shake-up will reduce the bill for taxpayers. But Labour says it will hit those on low incomes hardest, with lower earning graduates impacted more. The plans, part of a response to the 2019 review of post-18 education, applied to students in England starting courses from September 2023. The government has also said the maximum a university can charge for a course per year will be frozen at 9,250 for a further 2 years. Now, during the lockdown, our wards, our children who are in universities where they were doing all this virtual. They've not refunded anything for them. They are paying the full amount for that year as well. But we'll be looking at that. But let me say good afternoon to you, Kojo.
Yeah, good afternoon, Archie. Yeah.
How are you doing, sir? I'm doing well, thanks.
All right.
Great. Now.
What else can we say?
Now, first of all, let's go straight to the COVID. We'll come to Russia because those are the top stories that is making the rounds. But when it comes to the COVID, now that the restrictions are all over and stuff like that, now, and we know that it's not mandatory. There's no legal requirement that when you test positive, you have to stay at home and all that to isolate and stuff like that. How do you think that is going to pan out for us as a nation?
I don't think anybody knows really. Well, from all indications, the reason why they've gone this way is because hospitalization is at all-time low with people who have had vaccine. About 2 or 3 vaccines, 2 and a booster. Let me put it that way. Apparently, what the statistics is pointing to, people being hospitalized currently are people who haven't had any of the jabs at all. So they are looking at that. One of the statistics that they also look at, they were looking at, which I am a bit skeptical about. They've looked at the death rates going pre-COVID at this time of the year, and look at death rates from January to this time of the year, and they've looked at it week on week, look at pre-COVID week on week, and the death what they tell us from the ONS statistics, that's the Office of National Statistics office, is that it is low than pre-COVID, where there was no COVID, there were more people dying. But my skepticism is that probably people who have died around this period had died much earlier. 150,000 people died. Well, in a 2-year period. That's unprecedented anyway. And sometimes people were dying at the peak of it. People were over 1,000 people were dying a day. So I don't think under the normal death rate system, 1,000 people died in a day. So that is my view. People who were vulnerable, whose lives could have been extended for another 6 months, another 1 year, died earlier in the COVID. So on a whole, I think they should look at the whole statistics for a 3-year period and compare it to the last 3-year period, which I think they might have looked at, but that is my view. But they shouldn't just look at the same period this time pre-COVID. To make the, then that is the statistics they look at. When I was listening carefully to Professor Wheaty and Co, that was what they were alluding to, that death rates are currently very low compared to pre-COVID era. So, but I was still a bit skeptical, because because the way numbers are funny if you're looking at numbers, with the exception of our financial numbers.
Hey, that's what we say.
But any other statistics that you're putting up to the public to consume is slightly tricky. It's subject to so many people's interpretation. It's subject to how people look at the actual numbers. So when we were in School of Journalism years ago, we were told to be very careful of using statistics to determine what the actual picture is. So I think that is what they've done. Well, we just hope that things. And plus, they've constantly said UK is the most. UK and Israel, if you put it together, are the most countries that have had vaccines. Apart from, and that actually have reflected on the outcome of deaths and hospitalization in these two countries. So I think that is they've looked at that and look at other issues and think that it is time to move on and it's time for the economy to move on.
Okay.
So a lot of it is based on the maintaining this economic growth that they are currently experiencing in the UK, or we are currently experiencing in the UK.
Okay. Let's move on from there. Let's quickly come to this students loan thing. We know everybody. They need to assess that if they're going to the units. Now we know most of children from our background will say that we think that is going to be a huge sum of money or loan. Or it's in debt hanging around our necks, moving on in life and stuff like that, which we've tried to debunk that several times. That look, you go because we know that after 30 years it's even cancelled, and then you can just if you've not paid, you get it. But now that the government is reviewing that to say that look, come next year, anybody who gets into uni, you'll be going to pay it till you are 60. So that means that all your life you will be paying that money if you're not paying in big chunks.
Well, let's face it. What it is that they've looked at a repayment of these student loans, and a huge chunk of people never actually pay. So it's a big hole in the chancellor's finances. Because don't let's forget, this is all being financed by the chancellor. So more people are now going into university than if you compare it to 30 years ago. If you even compare it to when this was introduced, student loan came into effect, more people are now going into university. And people are picking up so many other courses, and universities are expanding the courses, the course bases that they have to be able to capture more people into their system. So the government, in a way, will have to find another way of plugging this whole hole within the student loan system. So how would they do it? We review the system, we mark everything down, we say this is what we want to do. So people who go from 2023, they will, we extend it to 40 years. Hopefully we will capture them if they didn't pay for the first 20 years and their incomes increase from the 25th year, we'll still have some money for 15 years, as opposed to if they didn't have any good income for 20 years, they only work for another 10 years. By the time they are age 51,
they chop it free.
Exactly. So if a student technically now have low income coming out of university, now it is pegged somewhere around 27,000. Okay.
Yeah, but now they are dropping it to 25.
Yes, they want to drop it to 25. So 27,000, which is pegged at. And I'm constantly earning 25,000, which, all right, even if you earn 28,000, which is the average wage in the UK at the moment, it means that your student loan that you pay is only 200. You only pay student loan on £200. Technically, that's how it works. So that £200 will take you forever. By the time you turn age 51, so you finish university, you are 21, 22. Okay, most will finish when they are 21, 22. They finish, you get a job around 22, 23. For the next 30 years, you are 53. Your income only started peaking when you were 30. So technically, you're only paying it for 20 years. And if your income doesn't peak at all until you are 45, you're only paying it for another 5 years. Or you don't end up paying. By the time you turn 51, 52, they can't chase you up for it. It's finished and gone. So they say, okay, we can add 10 more years to it and capture all the people, even if their income start picking up when they are in their 50s, then they can pay more. So that's what it is. And don't let us forget, it is not only that, they're finding ways to reduce our whole budget. So in the proposal, they are also talking about if you don't get grade 4 in English and math.
You will not be able to assess the student's loan.
Exactly. So it's a whole raft of measures being put together to reduce how much government shells out every year to students who are applicant. So we should be able to tell our children, you know what, you should be studying very hard.
That's right.
And get this money. You should study very, very, very hard.
Yeah.
So grade 4 will translate to old system C grade. Yeah, so that is how it is. So
you can see in maths and English, you can't access it.
You can't access it. No. So anybody planning now to go to even university as a mature student, they will find other ways of going. But there are still other ways to go to university without incurring this debt. Anyway, you can go through the apprenticeship route. But the only thing about that it takes slightly longer. And it's not for every subject that you can go via the apprenticeship route. So for the STEM subjects, a huge majority of the STEM subjects, you can go via the apprenticeship routes. A huge majority of courses that would have been calling engineering courses, you will still can go through, what do we call it? You can still go through the apprenticeship route. So for people like doctors, nurses, they cannot go through apprenticeship route. You have to understand. People going in to study mathematics, they cannot go through apprenticeship route. People who want to do computer science cannot go through apprenticeship route because it's also mathematics in general. If you want to study computer science, it's all maths based. So obviously those subjects on its whole, like I mentioned, you still have to get very high grades at your GCSE and A level to be able to enter those courses. So to go to any of the Russell Group universities, you still have to get high grades at your GCSE and A level to go to Russell Group universities anyway. So Russell Group universities probably will not be affected.
They
large extent. And they don't run certain courses too that people whose grades have dropped below what they are proposing run. So so people who want to really go to university, I think taking on this debt, you must make sure you're going to do a course that pays for itself. So it doesn't affect you in the long run.
Yeah. Well, listeners, it is Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, bringing the time now to 12:28. Now, let's go to the international front because the stories that are going on. As we were on air, I brought you the statement by the Prime Minister pertaining to the Russian invasion. And the question that I've asked so far was, how did we get here? We're talking about the Maastricht Treaty, what took place in 1992, ended up in 1993, where we had 12 countries putting themselves together, forming the EU. Now, after the dissolvement of USSR and everything, the countries that were the Balkan states, those that decided to join Europe. I mean, everybody had the freedom to go their separate ways. But I don't know whether when USSR crumbled, did the country still had the option to still be communist, or they had the option to become capitalists, as we see Ukraine doing?
Well, the fact of the matter is when the USSR crumbled and all the various countries that from the USSR, several went different ways. So Hungary went its way, Romania went its way and became an Eastern European country. And become more a capitalist country. You have Poland, which was also, a pre-communist country. They became they overnight became a capitalist and they got closer to the EU. So you have all those other Baltic states, which were all communist states, all becoming independent, although some of them were quite small. They realized that the best way out for them was to become closer to the European Union and become European Union countries and join NATO because of their sizes and because of the wider threat of Russia, who wasn't prepared to go that way. Because the leaders that took over immediately, is it Brezhnev or what's his name?
Brezhnev took over
immediately.
When he crumbled, it was Boris Yeltsin.
Sorry, I was going to say Boris Yeltsin. He immediately took steps to make peace and become so friendly with Western countries. So Russia looked like another Western country until after a series of events, he left the picture. We handed over to
Uncle.
Exactly, to Putin. Putin really had a different agenda. So, I mean, for nationhoods, people have different agenda. And when that happened, Ukraine in itself drew closer, was pro-Russia. You see, so when things changed, Ukraine was more pro-Russia. But over time, they have seen the prosperity of the other countries around them. They've seen that countries like Poland, Lithuania, and all those countries around them had prospered much more than they who were pro-Russian. So the citizens decided that, well, we've been pro-Russia for all this while. Putin didn't do anything. He didn't fight with us because all the leaders were pro-Russian. And over time, they decided that, look, we've seen the prosperity of all the countries around us. We've seen multi-party democracy. We've seen how it worked for countries like Poland, which is our next neighbor. You've seen how it worked for Estonia and all the other countries around. Latvia. So why are we still pro-Russia? And they've seen the difficulties the Russian economy is going through because of their antagonism with the Western countries and the EU. So they decide, well, we would rather be pro the West. And that is where all their problems started from, when they decided to be pro-Western countries. All the problem they had started.
Now, looking at what is happening now, I mean, I was trying to look at the beginning of the Second World War and what country that Hitler invaded first, and that was Poland. He invaded Poland, and then in a spate of, call it less than 24 months, he had invaded lots of countries. Lots of countries. Okay, so we are looking at sanctions that the West is saying that we're going to impose on him, blah, blah, blah. Yesterday, we had the Russian leader saying that, look, we've got in excess about $600 billion that we can comfortably rely on. So the thing is, assuming the sanctions that is being, economic sanctions that is being imposed on them takes about, what, as long as, call it 24 months to have an impact on them. By that time, they would have finished lots of countries. They would have finished Ukraine, come to the next, and then would end up. And because they have missiles, what they call nuclear weapon, so it's difficult for the West to do anything about it. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, that is where it's quite tricky, because the West doesn't want to be seen as the one which have ramp up the war. So, but I think Russia to also be wise enough not to go into any NATO country, except they want to test the might of NATO. And forgetting, Russia has the biggest military, if we put it that way, in Europe.
Yeah.
Look, they probably have close to 3 million people. That includes people, the reservists. So they are close to that. And Ukraine also has about a third of that. So obviously Ukraine also has a huge army. But comparing that to Russia having 3 million, trying to attack a NATO country, the NATO country will have about 6 times that number. So it is not an issue where, and that was a mistake Germany also did. They thought they had a huge army, but Ukraine and Russia, the USSR alone, had bigger armies than them. So that was partly also the fall of, Germany. So, but the only danger part of all this is if Russia is pushed to the brink, pushed to the corner, then we don't know what they might do. They might want to use any of the nuclear weapons they have, because even NATO has 4 or 5 times what they have in terms of military power, and they feel that their nation will be threatened and their nation will be probably be made to subdue. What would you do if you have other means to stop that? You might want to use it. So that is the only danger. I mean, if there wasn't any existence of a nuclear ammunition, if Russia didn't have that, probably.
Oh, but it's how they would have. They would have. Yeah.
They won't be doing what they are doing, because Putin is sitting back and, like we've been saying on the program, nobody can get into his head.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody even knew he was going to make the speech he made yesterday, and that is quite frightening.
Yeah, and an invasion today. I mean, because when Americans were saying that he's going to do that, and they were giving the time, and they said, "Oh, it's inevitable. He was going to do that." He was saying that no, he wasn't going to do that. There was so virtually you can see that he was lying through his teeth and got on to do it.
Yeah, because the thing is that probably he's been discussing that with his top generals, and he's been discussing that with his cabinet, and somebody has been leaking it out. We don't even know whether the Americans were wiretapping into their meetings. I mean, or they themselves were leaking out the security information so that the world would know what they were
intending.
It could be any way that they could be leaking that information themselves.
Yeah.
So, and what they are doing to Ukraine, it is not only, let's put it this way, it is not only taking Ukraine by force, but they are actually crumbling all the infrastructure of Ukraine, because they have done a cyber warfare on Ukraine already, trying to mobilize its financial systems and its civil service and everything they have, but probably they didn't succeed to a large extent in doing that. They took down some banks. Then the onslaught started. So, I mean, anybody anywhere say we support Russia and what they've done, should also, in my view, should also be thinking hard that if Russia can do this, when everybody thought there would be no war,
in this modern times. Yeah.
Yeah. So everybody should be thinking that, look, it could happen anywhere. They could go anywhere. Any country can start a war anywhere. I mean, all the great fans of Russia, which everybody is, I still have that opinion that a country which is independent and free and having made incursions to your country, you shouldn't
attack them. No way.
I mean, no matter what decision they decide to make and take as a nation, it's entirely their own destiny. I mean, it's just like I have a bigger brother who is enforcing himself on me to do according to his will.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that irrespective of anything that anybody says, going into another country, let's put it this way, Nigeria has probably what is the population of Nigeria? Nearly 200 million.
Yeah. Almost nearly 250 million.
Officially. Yeah. And Benin is what? Less than 10 million.
Yeah, less. Yeah.
And Nigeria decided that, okay, you're not releasing the man we want us to release to us. The man we consider to be a saboteur. And overnight, they put their troops in the border of Benin
and invade them and take over.
Because Benin is a weaker neighbor and a smaller neighbor. That is exactly what's happening. Look, Russia is about 150 million plus people.
Yeah.
And Ukraine is barely about 40. There are about 40 or 45 million people. And you invade, and your armies are probably 3 times the size of the Ukrainian army. And you know that no matter what happens, you can still take Ukraine. So now what are they doing? Destroying all the military infrastructure to make them weaker and weaker. I know people were saying, which we all agree, Ukraine, you could be like Switzerland. But it's not every nation that has a destiny to be like Switzerland. They want to chart their own destiny. And their destiny is protecting their borders. Why are they a threat to any other person? Because they are drawing closer to Western countries, and the Western countries are likely to place troops in Ukraine, which Russia considers as a threat to Russia. So because they've seen NATO placing troops in Poland and other countries, Estonia and all those other countries, so they think that will be a threat to them.
But even that, the question is, why would NATO want to invade Russia, knowing the military might of Russia? They wouldn't like to invade them.
No, they won't. Even if Russian army is depleted to about 1 million people, the fact that they have a nuclear arm means that it makes it difficult. Even if they are depleted to 500,000 people, it will still make it difficult to invade a country that carries. I mean, if India will be thinking of boosting its nuclear program. Iran will
be thinking about that.
Exactly.
And as for North Korea, you know that they are there already. So I'm really worried about the repercussion of this action that Russia has taken, you know?
Yeah, because everybody is looking at it. All the other countries are looking at it. Well, if Ukraine still had nuclear capability, this wouldn't have happened because somebody will fear that when you attack them,
they will
and they think they are pushed to the corner, they will release their nuclear
arsenal against you.
So they won't do it. So every small country now will be thinking, how can we get nuclear arms? I mean, and that makes the world a very dangerous place.
So what do you think the Western countries should do now? Because they are saying that they were not going to put boots on the ground, because if Ukraine was a NATO country, then they would have done that. Okay, though they were ascribing to be part of NATO, but they've not been. So what do you think the West can do now? Because I'm talking about the sanctions. I'm sure that whatever sanctions, it's not going to hit them yet. It will hit them in the future, but not yet. And we have China that has not said a word about what is going on. Other they are saying that their citizens should try to be safe in Ukraine and stuff like that. So not condemning the act. That means that they're going to be trade our bedfellows with Russia. We have North Korea there as well, and we have Syria, and now we have Iran as well. So there is problem looming.
This is looming, yeah. I mean, that's the exact thing you're saying. Yeah. I mean, the thing is that China has adopted a strategy of non-interference. So China's single policy is non-interference in other nations' political issues. So you don't also interfere in our own. Yeah. So that is the stance China takes. China will turn a blind eye to any deaths or anything that is occurring. I mean, if they want to buy gas and oil from Russia, they will buy it, but they will turn a blind eye to any other thing Russia does. And that has been its stance for a long time. Non-interference in other nations' politics. As simple as that. So they will also not interfere. So China will not in any way interfere, but they will rather suppress their own people who would not interfere in any other nation. So that is where the problem is, because China would not support any. China will not be seen as doing any sanction against Russia. I mean, pre the breakup of Russia, the Chinese and Russians were not friends. So, and partly what actually collapsed the Soviet Union was also sanctions. From Western countries. And because China was also not prosperous in the 90s, as they are now, they couldn't have a pact with, the USSR to buy stuff or anything from there. Because China was itself suffering. But now China has moved from those era and become prosperous. So whether the sanctions will buy Russia, it will bite them, but it will take a while to buy them. And it's the possibility too is that China will mop up some of the economic pressure that Russia will find itself in. So as to whether it will be very harsh, time will tell. And I'm sure Russia knows that they're going to have a hard time. Because let's face it, majority of Russian wealth still lies in Western countries. It is not in China. And Chinese itself has a lot of its wealth in Western countries. So that is a issue. The Western countries can really make it quite difficult for Russia. And it's going to be a tough time for them. But does he really care? They've been planning for this all this while. And like you quoted the figure, how many billions have they?
600
billion have they been
billions
hiding away? But how long can you survive on that 600 billion? It will finish one day.
But by that time they would have done whatever they want to do.
They will probably be strategizing which they've done already, how to move money around, because it's just one bank they're using, buying all the ammunitions and all those sort of things. And that bank has a huge sanction, so it can't even trade in the West. So the bank cannot trade, basically. But they would have had plan B to use other to move their military money around. But it's not a nice thing for the world. I mean, I've seen every country telling its citizens to evacuate from Ukraine. And the same breath, Ukraine is telling everybody living in Ukraine that if you want a gun,
come for it. Let's go and fight.
And I'm just wondering, when all this is over, how many guns will be?
Tell me about it. Tell me about it.
Christ.
Tell me about it. That is the other thing they're not looking at. But in the meantime, that's what they have to do to survive. If that is what it takes. But
everybody, even foreign nationals, they say come for a gun. Provided you live in Ukraine,
defend the country.
Nigerian, you are a Ghanaian, you are a Congolese. Those are the biggest numbers of people who live in Ukraine. Of African descent. Come for a gun, and they are all going for guns. At the end of the day, there will be guns littered everywhere. AK-47 everywhere, pistols everywhere. Everybody will have one.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Worrying times.
I've seen Ghana government issuing a statement out to Ghanaian students to actually stay indoors.
Stay indoors. There have been the barrage of weapons that have been missiles that have been fired into various. There are buildings that have been fired at, and so you say stay indoors and stay and do what?
He said they should seek shelter in their homes or in designated government places of shelter.
The bunkers that they have.
Yeah. I mean, I've gone. If you go into the Ukrainian underground system that runs through the whole city of Kiev.
Yeah.
Those places also have bunkers anyway in the underground system. They use that a lot for the Second World War. When bombs were dropped, people just go out into the underground system, and they've all been safe. Just being in an underground system. So we don't know where this is going. I was trying to get hold of our friend.
Yeah,
I sent him a message. He's ready, but he's not been able to reply. But possibly, it's difficult to even reply
message.
And at the moment, he has a responsibility of overseeing. That's Dr. Kiche, overseeing the whole of the Ghanaian student contingent. In Ukraine. So, the last time I talked to him over the weekend, he told me that, well, he might, if everybody leaves Ukraine, he will be the last person to leave. Because he has to ensure that
everybody is safe.
Every Ghanaian student is safe and left. And every Ghanaian who is registered with the consulate had also left. That the only people that they might not have, Ghanaians they might not have responsibility to, are people they don't know in the consulate.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's difficult. Yeah. It's a difficult time for anybody living in that part of the world. Really.
Yeah. Now, so how do Africans position themselves now? Because we have Russia that is, sending. Is it Mali or one of those places where they have Russian troops there who are helping to fight? Now, that means that some way, somehow, they cannot even talk. You cannot. Make any noise. And then, especially when you talk about China as well, where we know that China has been financing. If you talk about Africa now, Chinese money is there. That is what is making that continent, most of it, go on. So, what do they have legs or to stand on to either condemn what is going on, or because they are the receiving end, they just have to be quiet?
In African countries, African countries have traditionally not condemned any country.
Non-aligned.
They formed a non-aligned that they even succeed because African nations and all the developing countries decided. Well, it was more pioneered by African nations to form a few countries in previous Eastern Europe to form the non-aligned movement. We don't align to any of the Eastern or the Western bloc, but it didn't work. It died. It died. It's just existence in name, but it's not effective. We know African countries don't even have much of a voice anyway when it comes to these things, because they either rely on Western countries or they go towards Eastern countries. So they don't have a voice. They're not going to do anything. They're not going to condemn Russia. They're not going to condemn Western countries. They're not going to be part. Their voice will not be heard anywhere. So that is the situation. The voice will not be heard anywhere.
Okay, listeners, it is Starr Radio UK. We're going to be bringing the program to a close. As I said, today we're just looking at what is happening in Russia and its repercussion across the world. Okay, but Kojo, what have been the other story that has caught your eye this morning?
Oh, I've been looking at the MPP story. The whole story about MPP putting itself into maybe tricky situation for the next election. They're tearing themselves apart, really. I don't know why they're doing that. So Kennedy Agyapong is furious and trying to say I can bring the party down if I release the video from Anas.
But it was the same Kennedy Japan who was condemning Anas, that Anas was lying. So what is he talking about now?
So now is he saying that it is true? Because he's now saying that it's an entrapment. But when he releases that video, the party will be gone and the president will resign. That's the kind of thing he's saying. He's been told because he has a fight with who? The communications director. Yeah. So now he's taking a posture that is fight with the MPP communications director, who should extend all the way to the door of the president. And at the meantime, some other MPs too were calling for Adjo Safo to give way.
Yeah.
And the whole party is being tear apart. Some say she has been absent for all this while. And yes, the chair of the national chair even of the MPP, Freddie Blay, is saying that she asked for leave of absence to deal with her health issues, which even we didn't even were in preview to this. But I remember weeks ago when all this was coming up, Frank did mention that she might be having health issues.
Yeah.
She might be dealing with her health issues.
Yeah.
Given the fact that she lost her baby. She might even be dealing with a process of mourning that is taking a toll on her. She might be having depression. Nobody knows what she's going through. And because they want to pass E-levy through at all costs, Adjo Safo should be there to vote. And from other parlance of the party, they are talking about she is furious because she used to be the deputy majority leader and that was snatched from her and given when she was made a minister. And when she decided to fire somebody who worked under her, the president intervened and reinstated the person. And we've not heard from the actual person, but the party is tearing itself apart. I mean, I don't know why they decide to do this at this time, right? And which is going to go long into their own history. And come 2024, which is just barely, don't forget, they only have next year to be in government. The beginning of 2024 will usher in all these type of electioneering campaign, and they're already tearing themselves apart. So are they really serious to win election in 2024 when somebody is calling that he is going to destroy the party? I can't get it. Really, I can't get it. I mean, NDC has had its fair share of those type of things, but they speedily, what did they do? They expel all those people out of the party. But MPP, the people who are calling for these kind of things, some are big wigs. Some are financing the party, like Kennedy Japan. You can't expel him from the party. If you expel him from the party, then whatever he threatens to do, he's going to call for the president's resignation. You say that he's lost confidence in the president. He should leave office. So it's a tricky time for I thought I should just pick it to balance the discussion we've been having about the previous weeks about the whole political situation in the country. In relation to the E-levy. And we've also been told today that the session that MPP has been making, that NDC has also planned to do E-levy, is been fact-checked. And that is not true. That it wasn't in anywhere in NDC's manifesto for an E-levy.
I see.
We'll
follow it closely and see what will come out of that. Okay, Kojo. Let me say thank you very much for this wonderful contribution once again.
And to all our listeners, I think you should stay with this station, especially those abroad and overseas who really want to catch up with everything about Africa, about the homeland, about the diaspora. This is the station you should be listening to. I mean, all the news about Ghana, we'll dissect it. Everything about Nigeria, we'll dissect it for you. And anywhere in Africa, South Africa, we digest all of it for you and dissect it properly for you, so you understand what the position of Africa is on the globe, on the world map, or world politics. So don't leave this station. And a good afternoon to all of you.
Yes, good afternoon to you, Kojo. Have a lovely day. We'll catch up later.
Yeah, sure.
Right then.
And before you go,
yes.
Did anybody wish you a happy birthday?
Not on air.
Today is our one and only Archie's birthday. So happy birthday!
Thank you.
Top of the day.
Thank you very, very much. I don't know whether Felix has joined in. Let me see whether we can hear him briefly before we go. Felix.
To wish you birthday.
Hello, Felix. Oh, yes, we can hear you now.
Right, okay. Just a few things.
Yes, go on.
To note there. I am surprised with what has happened overnight. I didn't see that coming to this extent. Yes, but I think maybe the Russians feel completely different. They don't want to live with a nuclear bomb of a hostile countries in their backyard. I mean, the United States are the same situation when the Cuban Missile Crisis happened.
Yeah.
I mean, they told the Soviets at the time that if you don't take them out from Cuba, we'll go and take them out ourselves.
Yeah.
And that, unfortunately, that seems to be the judgment call they've made. Damn economic sanctions. They're not going to live with nuclear, weapons of hostile countries in their backyard.
Yeah.
And I don't know how this is going to end, but look, it doesn't look good for Ukraine
at all.
Well, they don't. I don't think they have the capacity to fight back. They may have insurgency of some sort. Whether he's going to take over the whole country or not, I doubt. But I don't know. I mean, it's a sad situation. But I don't know. Questions will also have. These Western countries, they possibly don't listen to anybody anyway. But I believe questions will need to be asked about some of these huge military alliances, whether they are still really needed.
Yeah.
I mean, like I stated to you over this week, we are not in a position to even protect our fish stock. So we look the other way around, even when we are being bullied.
Yeah.
Just like we all look the other way around, and they destroyed Libya, consequences of which we are facing now in West Africa. Yeah. And what this also shows is that if you have the military capability to stand your ground, if you have the not the economic, but the technological independence.
Yeah.
And you don't have to rely on other countries. Sometimes you may be able to push back a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
Because, I mean, if we had our own capacity to manufacture our own, fighter jets, we shouldn't have allowed for Libya to have been destroyed. Whatever we thought of Gaddafi, we shouldn't have allowed for Libya to have been destroyed. I mean, the crisis we have in Nigeria, in Burkina Faso, in Mali, in virtually almost all of West Africa now, it can largely be attributed to the fact that you have a lot of young men who hitherto would have secured jobs.
Oh, of course. Over there. The idle hand.
I mean, there are many people.
Idle hand.
Yes, idle hands. A lot of people were working there. But, I mean, these people can't even go there anymore. But, unfortunately, I hope it comes to an end sooner than later. But it's kind of difficult to see how a military superpower like Kojo said is certainly a military superpower in Europe. No question at all about it. Certainly a military superpower. But it's kind of difficult to accept for a military superpower to accept that a hostile military alliance will have, shall we say, an arsenal of nuclear weapons in their backyard, targeting their cities. Whether that will be an issue for discussion in Western political circles and media, I don't know, because over the last 30 years, they've just decided to ignore the concerns of the Russians. And unfortunately, this is what has landed us where we are.
Interesting.
Because I mean, this is what has landed us where we are.
You know, what I said, I told Kojo was that, look, if NATO, places nuclear weapons even in Ukraine, they wouldn't use it on Russia, would they? Because they know the repercussions. They will know that if they use that, what is going to happen?
Actually, that is not the point. It's not a question of somebody using it. Insofar as these assets are there, you can even look during the course of the Cold War. I mean, there are declassified documents that have come up now where sometimes miscommunication. Yes, even miscommunication, because you got to remember that it's not just only aircraft that these people are sitting down and using their navigational system. The aeronautic, their radar system,
to monitor.
trying to track down. And sometimes even mistakes can happen. I mean, that's the reason why where you have even civil nuclear reactors, they don't want human beings to live close by. Because sometimes you can have genuine accidents.
Chernobyl.
You can have genuine accidents. So insofar as this infrastructure is there and it's only 5 minutes away from your major cities, it brings a whole certain level of threat altogether. Right? And the question is, if you don't intend to use it, why do you have them there?
Interesting. They want to just flex their muscles.
3 days ago, when I called your show, I said to you that we used to have there was this problem between Gaddafi and Reagan at the time, and there were American aircraft carriers in the Med within Libyan territorial waters. Libya complained over many months. Ultimately, what did they do? They helped their aircraft to go and attack his presidential palace. If you don't have any intentions of using this, because you see, these equipments cost a lot of money. It's not like picking up a pair of shoes over a weekend going to visit your brother up the road. You have to build infrastructure. It costs a lot of money to move them. It costs even a lot more money to build them. It costs a lot more money to keep them safe. So if you have no intentions of using them, why would you move them very close to the border of another country? Or why do you intend to move them close to the border of another country? If you have maybe you want to scare them off, maybe you are a big man who wants to play with big toys. But it's difficult to tell another nuclear power that you are just, keeping them. Well, for safekeeping or what?
We want a storage, place of storage.
Yes, I mean yes, I mean what sort of storage facility is that? So I don't know. Hopefully, I mean, I don't know, but somebody has to advise the Ukrainians. Like I said to you 3 days ago, they should go the Swiss way. Don't even take up membership of the UN. Because immediately you take up membership of the UN, you then be obliged to vote a certain way or vote a certain way. And if you vote some ways, you have not sanctions, but cold shoulder from the powers that be. So just stay neutral. Make your banks, secured, and just keep saving the money of all the crooks in the world. Because they will have to accept the fact that they are going to live with a superpower next to them. It's not two countries away from them. You are literally sharing border with that superpower. And that superpower also seems to think that you are an artificial creation, that it was actually their land that has been, cut into pieces and you've given a bit of it. That's what they believe. Whether that is right or wrong doesn't really matter. But at least that's what some Russians believe, that Ukraine is not a genuine nation, that it was just created out of a certain chunk of Russian land being given to them.
Interesting.
So you have to accept these realities. Just like Ghana and Nigeria. We can't take on Nigeria on a trade war. We're going to lose.
No,
it's too big.
Yeah.
Yes, it's too big. It doesn't make sense. It's just like Burkina Faso or Togo trying to take Ghana on a trade war. They will lose in the long term. They will lose in the long term. They are too small to take us on. Well, not small in terms of geographical landmass. Burkina Faso is possibly bigger than Ghana landmass, but in terms of the economy and water and access to land, access to fertile soil and things like that, we are way ahead of them. So some is an unjust world, just like we are also constantly complaining about how international big companies and big countries are treating us, but that's a reality we have to maneuver our way through. And I hope they will be able to do something like that. I mean, there are many countries in Europe, Liechtenstein, Luxembourg, and Andorra, the Principality of Monaco, countries that have decided that, we're not going to get ourselves busy with military issues. Just pay attention to the economy. Let people, do well, socially, economically. Just do that. Even stay away from NATO altogether. Because this whole issue started when they were forced in the situation to only join the EU without having the same conditions of trade with Russia. Yeah. Obviously, you can go back, historical antecedents, but it was all ratcheted up after that. And I hope that there is some solution of some sort. I know it's gone past your time. Maybe I'll catch up with you tomorrow.
Okay. Felix, let me say thank you very, very much for that as well. All right, then, listeners, this is where we're bringing the program to a close. I think the only thing that we can do now is to pray. Maybe Putin might have a change of heart, looking at everything that is going on, looking at lives that are being lost at the moment, looking at people who feel besieged at the moment, might decide, let me just leave it. I flex my muscle enough. Or is it that the Western world is going to say, okay, let's go on attack? Would that happen? Whoa. I don't think that is going to be something that's going to happen. But wherever you are listening to us from, I want to say thank you very much for joining us today. But remember, this evening exactly at 7 o'clock, we'll be having the property hour with KB Bossman and Vicky Newton. Make a date with them because they're going to be having a guest. The guest for today is not going to be no other person than one who has been on the show several times, William P.W. Omoni, Director, Proactive Consult, PWO Finance, and they are looking at complex property finance. Make sure you join them on the program and they will tell you more. Maybe in these times where things are hard, things are tough, you'll be able to get your foot on the property ladder. What about that? Wow. So this and a lot more, but this afternoon lots of music going to be coming your way. Stay tuned, don't you go away. It is Starr Radio UK. It's been me, Archie, Kojo D, Felix, Miss Olayomi Koiki, and all you wonderful people who joined us today. Have a top of the day. Bye-bye for now. Enjoy this song from a cover version of the Black IP tune, Nico, covering Where Is the Love. Bye-bye.
People killing, people dying, children hurting, hear them crying. Can you practice what you preach? Would you turn the other cheek? Father, help us. Send some guidance from above. People got me questioning. Where is the love? What's wrong with the world, mama? People living like they ain't got no mamas. Think the whole world's addicted to the drama. Only attracted to things that'll bring you trauma. Overseas, we're trying to stop terrorism, but we still got terrorists here living in the USA, the big CIA. Bloods in the Crips and the KKK. If you only have love for your own race, then you only leave space to discriminate. To discriminate only generates hate. When you hate, then you're bound to get irate. Madness is what you demonstrate. That's exactly how anger works and operates. Man, you gotta have love, this'll set us straight. Take control of your mind and meditate. Let your soul gravitate to love. People killing, people dying,